Our Lady of Lourdes in southern France is the site of 70 medical miracles recognized by the Catholic Church. The Marian shrine is famous to the faithful.
Sister Bernadette, a humble nun from France, claimed to have received visions of world-altering events centuries ago, but her haunting prediction for 2025 is now capturing global attention. In her vision, she described unsettling shifts that echo today's environmental and social upheavals, leaving many to wonder. Could her foresight truly be coming to pass? How did a simple woman from a quiet village foresee events so eerily relevant to our times? Today, we're diving deep into Sister Bernadette's terrifying prophecy to unravel what may lie ahead in 2025. The story of Bernadette Soubirous. Bernadette Soubirous's remarkable story began in the quiet simplicity of her early life. Born on January 7, 1844, in Lourdes, France, Bernadette was the eldest of 9 children in a family facing constant struggles with poverty and illness. Even as a child, she shouldered responsibilities beyond her years, working as a shepherdess to help support her family. Her education was minimal, as her days were filled with labor rather than schooling. Her life seemed destined for hardship and obscurity, mirroring the lives of so many around her. However, something extraordinary happened to Bernadette that would forever change not only her life, but also the lives of millions. On February 11, 1858, when she was just 14 years old, Bernadette ventured out to gather firewood near a secluded grotto called Soubirous. There, she encountered a vision that would lead her to an unimaginable destiny. In the dim light of the grotto, she saw a beautiful lady, dressed in white and enveloped in a radiant glow. Unsure of what she was witnessing, Bernadette described the figure simply as a young lady. This encounter was only the beginning. Over the next few months, she experienced 18 such visions. Each vision brought Bernadette a new message, propelling her from the shadows of an ordinary life into the center of a spiritual revelation. This mysterious figure in the grotto later revealed herself as the Immaculate Conception, a term entirely unfamiliar to Bernadette, who lacked formal theological knowledge. For Catholics, this title carried profound meaning, suggesting that Bernadette was indeed seeing the Virgin Mary. Mary had chosen this humble, uneducated young girl as the bearer of divine messages, urging people to return to their faith, repent for their sins, and trust in the power of prayer. One of her primary calls was for people to pray for sinners and embrace God's boundless mercy. Initially, Bernadette's claims met with widespread skepticism. Local authorities and even the Catholic Church were hesitant, questioning the validity of her visions. The police interrogated her rigorously, and church officials withheld support, cautious about endorsing unproven mystical experiences. Despite intense pressure to recant, Bernadette stood resolute. Her sincerity, humility, and steadfast faith won over the hearts of many who initially doubted her. It became clear that this young girl had no reason to fabricate such experiences. Slowly, her unwavering conviction began to sway opinions, and more people started to believe in the authenticity of her visions. One of the most significant moments in Bernadette's journey came when, during one of the apparitions, the Virgin Mary instructed her to dig into the earth. As she obeyed, a spring of water bubbled up from the ground. Over time, this spring became renowned for its miraculous properties, as countless people reported physical and spiritual healing after drinking or bathing in its waters. These miraculous healings added credibility to Bernadette's visions, drawing attention from far and wide. Lourdes became a symbol of hope and faith, with the spring's water viewed as a testament to the divine messages Bernadette had shared. In 1862, just a few years after the visions, the Catholic Church formally recognized the apparitions at Lourdes, declaring that the Virgin Mary had indeed appeared to Bernadette. This official acknowledgement marked a turning point, transforming Lourdes into one of the most significant pilgrimage sites globally. Each year, millions travel there, seeking healing, comfort, and a renewal of their faith. Despite the fame that followed her, Bernadette never sought personal recognition. She chose a quiet, devout life and joined the Sisters of Charity convent in Nevers, France. There, she devoted herself to serving others, particularly the sick and poor. Bernadette's own health remained frail throughout her life, and she suffered from tuberculosis, which progressively worsened. Nevertheless, her faith stayed unshaken, and she remained true to the messages she had received at Lourdes. On April 16, 1879, at just 35 years old, Bernadette passed away. Her life, marked by simplicity, humility, and profound faith, left an enduring legacy. But you might be wondering, how did this unassuming girl, who experienced miraculous visions of the future, live her life within just 35 short years? Stay tuned as we find out. The life of Bernadette Soubirous. What makes Bernadette Soubirous a truly extraordinary figure isn't just the miraculous visions she experienced, but also the humble, steadfast life she led. Despite becoming a symbol of faith to millions worldwide, she never sought fame or special recognition for herself. Instead, Bernadette consistently reminded others that she was only a messenger delivering the Virgin Mary's words. Her humility, unwavering faith, and quiet endurance of suffering deeply moved everyone who encountered her and continue to inspire people across the globe. She was canonized as a saint of the Church by Pope Pius VI on December 8, 1933, the solemnity of the Immaculate Conception. Her legacy lives on not only through the miraculous waters at Lourdes, but also in the hearts of the millions who travel to the site each year, seeking healing, hope, and renewed faith. Though Bernadette left this world over a century ago, her story and influence remain powerfully relevant, and the miracles at Lourdes continue to inspire belief and devotion. One of the most defining moments in Bernadette's journey came during one of her 18 visions. During an apparition, the Virgin Mary directed her to dig into the ground at the grotto in Massabielle. Although confused and uncertain, Bernadette obeyed, despite the skeptical looks from onlookers. As she dug, a small spring of water began to trickle up from the ground. At first, it seemed like nothing more than a simple puddle, but over time, this spring grew into something extraordinary, a wellspring of healing. News of the water's healing properties spread quickly, drawing people from far and wide. Those suffering from physical ailments, chronic illnesses, and even spiritual struggles made the journey to Lourdes, hoping to be cured. One of the first reported miracles occurred soon after Bernadette's visions in 1858. A woman named Catherine Latapie, who had suffered from paralysis in one hand, traveled to Lourdes after hearing of the spring. Upon dipping her hand into the water, she experienced an immediate and complete restoration of movement. Her healing was one of the earliest of countless miracles attributed to the spring at Lourdes. Since that first remarkable healing, thousands of individuals have reported miraculous recoveries after drinking or bathing in the waters of Lourdes. Each year, new stories emerge of people experiencing physical or spiritual transformations. The Catholic Church has undertaken rigorous investigations into many of these cases, carefully examining each claim. Out of thousands of reported cures, the Church has officially recognized 70 as miracles that defy scientific explanation. These confirmed miracles reinforce the authenticity of Bernadette's visions and highlight the enduring power of faith that Lourdes represents. Lourdes serves as a sanctuary of both physical healing and spiritual renewal, drawing millions of pilgrims seeking not just cures, but a reconnection with their faith. This pilgrimage offers a space for introspection, repentance, and growth, uniting visitors in a shared devotion that transcends individual backgrounds. At the heart of Lourdes' appeal is the story of Bernadette Soubirous. Known for her humility and resilience, Bernadette's life of simplicity and unwavering faith, despite skepticism and her own suffering, has made her an enduring symbol of devotion. After her visions, she chose a quiet life with the Sisters of Charity, caring for the sick even as her health declined from tuberculosis. She passed away at just 35, but her legacy lives on. Today, Lourdes stands as one of the world's most significant pilgrimage sites, where people come not only to experience the healing spring, but to draw inspiration from Bernadette's example. Her story continues to resonate as a testament to faith, humility, and the strength found in quiet perseverance, offering hope and a renewed spiritual connection for all who seek it. Bernadette Soubirous's concept of pilgrimage. Bernadette Soubirous' story reshaped the meaning of pilgrimage, infusing it with a profound sense of personal spiritual transformation. Though pilgrimages were already common across various faiths, her visions added a new, deeply personal dimension to the journey. Through her experience, the idea emerged that a pilgrimage could be more than a search for physical healing. It could also be a path to spiritual awakening. Bernadette, a humble, uneducated young girl, showed the world that encounters with the divine were not reserved for scholars, religious elites, or the wealthy. Her story revealed that anyone, regardless of background or status, could experience grace and connect with the sacred. Lourdes became a place where ordinary people felt a deeper bond with the divine, knowing that holiness was accessible to all who sought it with sincerity and faith. Each year, millions of pilgrims from around the world travel to Lourdes, not only to seek healing in its miraculous waters, but also to reconnect with their faith, find peace, and rekindle hope. Bernadette's simplicity and unwavering belief made her a powerful symbol. Her life, though modest, became a testimony to the possibility of extraordinary experiences for even the most unassuming individuals. She demonstrated that miracles and divine encounters are within reach for those who approach with an open heart and trust in a higher power. Bernadette's Prophecies and 2025. While Bernadette is primarily celebrated for her visions of the Virgin Mary, those who have studied her life suggest she also spoke of events yet to come. Hidden within her accounts are references that some believe allude to a period of great change and trial in the year 2025. Though Bernadette never directly mentioned this date, patterns in her prophecies hint at a year marked by upheaval and renewal. As present-day events seem to reflect her words, her warnings carry a haunting relevance, inviting new interpretations. Near the end of her life, Bernadette retreated to a convent, sharing further visions with close companions. To one nun, she reportedly described a great awakening, a time of trials but also of grace. The world will tremble, but faith will be restored. Many who have studied Bernadette's words believe that this prophecy speaks directly to our era, mirroring today's turmoil and hinting at a spiritual resurgence. With each unfolding crisis, Bernadette's words grow in significance, painting 2025 as a possible turning point in human history. One of the most unsettling aspects of Bernadette's prophecies concerns the natural world. She spoke of visions where the rivers overflow, the skies blaze, and the earth suffers. While these words were spoken over a century ago, they seem eerily fitting in light of today's climate crisis. In recent years, we've seen a relentless increase in wildfires, floods, and ecological destruction. Scientists have long warned of environmental collapse, but Bernadette's prophecy adds a deeply spiritual dimension to these warnings, suggesting that humanity's relationship with nature is in profound need of repair. Bernadette's visions extended beyond the environment to the realm of human conflict. She foresaw a time when nations will rise against each other, not with weapons of war, but with words filled with hatred and division. This prophetic image seems to resonate with today's polarized political landscape, where misinformation and ideological divides have fragmented societies around the globe. As we approach 2025, the rise of populism, distrust in institutions, and mounting tensions between world powers reflect Bernadette's warning of a world on the brink of turmoil. Her vision challenges us to seek unity and understanding amid the discord, urging a return to compassion over division. Bernadette's prophecies were not solely warnings of chaos, they also held a vision of hope. She foresaw a time when humanity would rediscover faith and resilience, coming together in unity to find strength amidst the world's hardships. She believed that even in places where spirituality had dwindled, the flame of faith would reignite, inspiring people to embrace deeper spiritual and moral values. Among her more enigmatic predictions was the emergence of a chosen child, a figure destined to arise from obscurity during a global crisis, endowed with profound spiritual power. This individual, Bernadette suggested, would guide humanity through difficult times, serving as a beacon of hope. Some interpret this as foretelling a leader who could appear by 2025, inspiring compassion, kindness, and unity in a troubled world. As 2025 approaches, Bernadette's visions continue to resonate, challenging us to confront current challenges with renewed faith and purpose. Her message speaks to a future where, even amid environmental and social crises, grace and transformation remain possible. She reminds us that periods of turmoil can bring spiritual awakening and growth. Bernadette's legacy endures, not only through the Lourdes miracle, but also in those who draw strength from her story, finding hope in her belief that faith can carry us through uncertain times. Yet, her prophecies encourage us to approach the future with open hearts, seeking the divine and fostering unity and compassion in a world that often feels divided in terms of faith and the pursuit of justice. Let's explore her revelation about justice and faith. Justice and faith. As the world faces various crises. As the world grapples with ongoing crises, such as the 2020 pandemic and escalating economic inequality, the predictions made by Bernadette Soubirous for the year 2025 seem more pertinent than ever. Many observers are struck by the striking parallels between her foresight and the current global situation, reigniting widespread interest in her prophetic visions. Religious leaders, mystics, and ordinary believers alike are beginning to view 2025 as a pivotal year, one that could either mark the dawn of a spiritual revival or the deepening of humanity's struggles. Bernadette's vision of a great awakening brings a beacon of hope amidst the fear and uncertainty that clouds the future. Her prophecies suggest that although the world will face tremendous challenges in 2025, these trials will ultimately pave the way for profound transformations. According to her, this period of hardship will not be in vain. Instead, it will foster a rebirth of faith, unity, and spiritual growth among people worldwide. This message resonates deeply with those who still believe that humanity has the power to change the course of its collective crisis. As long as we embrace the core values that Bernadette passionately advocated, compassion, repentance, and a genuine return to God, there is still a chance for renewal. Her vision invites us to reflect on the possibilities of a brighter, more unified future, even as we face the harsh realities of today. The world at the edge of collapse. The world today is teetering on the edge of profound change. As we witness escalating global conflicts, environmental disasters, and spiritual awakenings, it becomes strikingly apparent that the challenges we face may mirror the prophecies of Bernadette Soubirous. Her visions, which spoke of difficult times, suffering, and eventual transformation, are now being re-examined as potential glimpses into our future. As current events unfold in real time, more and more people are starting to recognize the urgency Bernadette forewarned, seeing her predictions as eerily prescient. One of the most pressing issues today is climate change, and it is within this context that Bernadette's visions gain even more weight. Over a century ago, she warned of natural disasters, floods, blazing skies, and a planet in peril. These descriptions are remarkably aligned with the environmental crises that we are witnessing in 2024. From severe wildfires to unprecedented flooding and increasingly erratic weather patterns, the signs of climate change are undeniable. Experts warn that the world may soon reach a tipping point, where the destructive consequences of global warming become even more severe, further threatening the stability of ecosystems and human communities. As the planet faces this critical moment, Bernadette's prophecies seem more relevant than ever. Her words spoke of a suffering world, yet they also carried a message of hope. She predicted that the trials of the world would not only bring hardship, but also grace. Amid the environmental devastation, there is an emerging movement of people turning towards spirituality, seeking solace in faith as they confront the consequences of humanity's impact on nature. This growing spiritual awareness, an awakening tied to the preservation of the planet, seems to reflect Bernadette's vision of a world shaken to its core, but ultimately restored through unity and faith. As the environment continues to degrade, many people are finding themselves drawn into a renewed sense of connection with the earth. This reflects an essential aspect of Bernadette's prophecy, which spoke of a time when the world would face great challenges. But through these challenges, humanity would find spiritual grace. Just as the physical world suffers, so too does the spiritual world. Yet, as the suffering deepens, a resurgence of faith is blossoming. People are turning to prayer, meditation, and introspection, seeking to reconnect with their higher selves and the divine as they feel the pull of a world in distress. Beyond the environmental crises, Bernadette's prophecies also spoke of growing political unrest and division. Her warning of nations rising against each other, not through wars of weapons, but through words of hatred and discord, seems chillingly accurate today. In recent years, tensions between major global powers like the United States, China, and Russia have intensified. These geopolitical strains are compounded by trade conflicts, cyber attacks, and increasing diplomatic disputes, creating an unpredictable and volatile global landscape. The world is facing unprecedented levels of division, not only between countries but within them, as political polarization reaches new extremes. Societies globally are torn apart by hostile rhetoric, fueled by misinformation that spreads rapidly, especially on social media. Bernadette's warnings about the dangers of hatred and division resonate powerfully in today's fractured world, suggesting these divides will only deepen as we approach 2025. This growing instability has sparked a widespread spiritual awakening. The pandemic in particular led many to reflect on life's purpose and seek comfort through prayer, meditation, and other spiritual practices. People are increasingly turning to faith, seeking solace in a higher power, as Bernadette predicted. This shift goes beyond individual peace. It embodies a collective hope to heal the world's fractures. As we near 2025, the world stands at a critical juncture. Political discord, environmental degradation, and spiritual disconnection threaten to escalate the global crisis. Yet Bernadette's prophecies offer a glimmer of hope, suggesting that humanity can find renewal. In the face of adversity, there is an opportunity for spiritual grace and a return to core values. Whether through environmental stewardship or spiritual revival, her vision implies that transformation is possible if we embrace faith, unity, and healing. Ultimately, the challenges of today could lead to profound change, but only if humanity chooses a path of collective responsibility and compassion. Bernadette's words serve as a reminder. The power to shape the future lies within our commitment to unity and faith. The role of leadership in times of crisis. Bernadette's prophecies also highlighted the vital role leadership would play during these turbulent times. She foresaw that corrupt leaders would be exposed and that the people would rise to demand justice across the globe. We are witnessing her predictions come to life as protests against corruption, authoritarian rule, and inequality erupt in various parts of the world. From Hong Kong and Belarus to the Black Lives Matter movement in the United States, people are uniting to demand accountability and transparency from those in power. Bernadette envisioned a world where, despite immense challenges, justice would eventually prevail, and this vision seems to be materializing before our eyes. With major political changes on the horizon, especially with elections like the upcoming presidential race in the United States, the outcomes of these events could have profound, lasting impacts on the global stage. Political analysts suggest that this year is pivotal for shaping the future of international relations, with the potential to either bring nations together or deepen existing divides. The world stands at a crucial turning point, as Bernadette predicted. Once considered distant or even implausible, her prophecies now feel more urgent and relevant than ever. The convergence of environmental disasters, political instability, and spiritual awakening has prompted many to realize that the choices made in this critical year will define the future path, one leading to further division and destruction, or one marked by spiritual renewal and global cooperation. Religious and scientific reactions, the debate on prophecies. The responses to Bernadette's prophecies have ignited a heated debate, drawing in religious leaders, believers, skeptics, and scientists. At the heart of this controversy lies the clash between faith and science, a divide that has become more prominent as global events unfold. For many devout followers, Bernadette's visions are seen as divine warnings, a call from God to prepare for what's to come. On the other hand, skeptics and members of the scientific community approach these predictions with skepticism, often questioning their credibility and relevance in today's world. For religious followers, especially within the Catholic Church, Bernadette's legacy is revered. Many see her not just as a saint, but as a divine messenger. Her visions of the Virgin Mary and the healing miracles associated with Lourdes are viewed as concrete evidence of her connection to the divine. To these believers, her prophecies about the year 2025 are more than just predictions. They are urgent calls to return to faith, repent, and renew spiritually. These messages of warning and repentance echo the words of other saints throughout history who warned of impending trials. As such, many followers see Bernadette's predictions as a timely reminder to seek spiritual salvation amidst the chaos of the modern world. However, the scientific community and skeptics offer a different perspective. They argue that prophecies cannot be substantiated through scientific reasoning or proof. While acknowledging Bernadette's cultural and religious significance, they view her predictions as vague, often based on symbolic language that can be interpreted in many ways. For skeptics, the environmental crises and political instability we are currently facing are not the result of supernatural foresight, but rather the predictable outcome of complex global issues such as climate change, deforestation, and geopolitical tensions. These challenges have existed for decades and are well documented by scientists, making it easy to see how some of Bernadette's warnings could align with current events, even if they were not divinely inspired. Scientists who study the environment point out that many of the predictions that Bernadette made regarding natural disasters, rising sea levels, floods, and wildfires are similar to what climate scientists have been warning about for years. Climatologists have long predicted the catastrophic effects of human activities on the planet, particularly the rise in global temperatures and extreme weather patterns. For these experts, the fulfillment of some of Bernadette's prophecies is less about a divine revelation and more about the failure to heed scientific warnings. Despite these contrasting views, the debate is not always confrontational. Some scholars and theologians argue that faith and science need not be in opposition. They propose that prophecies like Bernadette's can serve as symbolic guides, tools that prompt reflection on the human condition rather than literal predictions of future events. In this view, prophecies encourage spiritual growth and moral reckoning, while science offers solutions to the physical and environmental challenges humanity faces. This perspective suggests that Bernadette's warnings for 2025 might not only be calls to spiritual renewal, but also a prompt for collective action in addressing environmental destruction and societal divisions. The symbolism within Bernadette's prophecies, such as the imagery of skies on fire and rising waters, has led many to draw connections to the current climate crisis. While believers see these symbols as direct references to environmental collapse, skeptics view them as common motifs in prophetic texts, often used to describe various forms of catastrophe. Bernadette's use of ambiguous language, like her mention of great trials and grace, leaves room for multiple interpretations. For believers, this open-endedness allows them to see a divine message that aligns with contemporary issues. Meanwhile, skeptics argue that these vague statements can be applied to any number of global crises, making them appear relevant but not prophetic. The debate between faith and science surrounding Bernadette's prophecies highlights the complexities of interpreting the world around us. Bernadette's message, Hope Amid Global Uncertainty. Despite her solemn warnings for 2025, Bernadette's prophecies carry a strong message of hope. While she foresaw hardships related to social, environmental, and spiritual crises, she also envisioned a path forward, suggesting that even in the face of global uncertainty, humanity has the potential for healing, unity, and renewal. Her messages are not solely about impending struggles. They are about the possibilities for positive transformation if people embrace faith, compassion, and collective action. Central to her vision is the idea of spiritual rebirth. Bernadette believed that the challenges of 2025 would serve as a wake-up call, urging humanity to turn away from materialism and selfishness and move toward a life of empathy and faith. This shift, she suggested, would not only bring inner peace to individuals, but could also inspire a broader wave of healing across society. Her call for a return to faith is deeply interwoven with an invitation to rediscover a shared humanity and to rebuild connections among people. Bernadette's prophecies also speak to the importance of unity during turbulent times. She warned of divisions and conflicts, but believed these difficulties could ultimately lead to a stronger sense of cooperation and understanding. Her vision suggests that the world's challenges in 2025 might act as a catalyst for nations and individuals to come together, fostering reconciliation and collective action in the face of common issues. This message of unity provides a glimmer of hope, reminding us that even in divided times, there is always a chance for peace. Perhaps the most uplifting aspect of Bernadette's predictions is her confidence in humanity's capacity for growth and positive transformation. She envisioned that rather than leading to destruction, the trials of 2025 could spark a renewal, helping humanity emerge wiser and more resilient. Her words act as a guiding light for those seeking direction amid today's challenges, whether environmental, political, or spiritual, offering a sense of purpose and optimism. Bernadette's vision thus serves as a reminder that through faith, unity, and hope, positive change is always within reach. In a world facing complex crises, her message inspires individuals and institutions alike to look beyond despair, embracing hope as a tool for navigating uncertain times and working toward a more compassionate and united future. But as a unique figure who gave prophecies of hope and renewal of faith, there are still a few things we don't know about her. Let's delve into 3 facts you didn't know about Bernadette Soubirous. Facts you didn't know about Saint Bernadette Soubirous. Saint Bernadette Soubirous, a French peasant girl, experienced visions that transformed her life and inspired millions. One of the most remarkable aspects of her legacy is her incorrupt body, which remains preserved at the Sisters of Charity convent in Nevers, France. Unlike ordinary bodies that decay naturally, Bernadette's incorrupt body draws pilgrims worldwide, viewing it as a testament to her holiness. Beyond this miracle, Bernadette shared a unique bond with Our Lady, the Blessed Virgin Mary. During visions at the Grotto of Massabielle in Lourdes, she saw Mary and developed a strong opinion on her portrayal. Only the Our Lady of Cambrai image resonated with Bernadette, as she felt it most closely resembled the beautiful figure she encountered. Tradition holds that this image was painted by Saint Luke, who is said to have known Mary personally. Despite the reverence her visions garnered, Bernadette faced hardships. Her visions attracted crowds and sparked skepticism from local officials who saw her as a disruptive influence. The mayor of Lourdes even attempted to block access to the grotto and cast her as mentally unstable. Nonetheless, Bernadette found support from local citizens and her pastor, who shielded her from harsh criticism. Today, Lourdes remains a sacred place of healing and hope, where miraculous events are reported frequently. Over 7,000 healings have been recorded, and several, including Sister Bernadette Mouriot's recovery in 2008, have been recognized by the Church. Pilgrims visiting Lourdes seek not only physical healing, but also spiritual renewal and peace, following in Saint Bernadette's footsteps to experience the mystery, grace, and divine presence that define this holy site. What do you think about Sister Bernadette's prediction for 2025? We'd love to hear your insights in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.